In the corridors of time are mysteries that defy explanation. Now, I'm traveling through history itself on a search for the truth. New evidence. Shocking answers. I'm Džoš Gejts, and these are my expedition files. Whether we realize it or not, we are all expert code breakers. We spend our lives decoding the world, solving the riddle of what those around us are saying, thinking, feeling. But some codes can't be cracked. Some mysterious riddles remain incomprehensible years, even centuries, after they were conceived. Tonight we'll examine 3 files of the strangest and most disturbing unsolved codes in history. 1. A cryptic cipher that reveals a brutal serial killer. 2. A puzzling poem that guarantees incredible riches. 3. An ancient manuscript that just might hold the answer to the origin of life. 3 files, 1 question. How do we break the code? Our first story starts at a good place to get lost and a terrible place to be found. To the local teens in Vallejo, California, this peaceful overlook is known as Lover's Lane. And love is in the air because tonight, December 20th, 1968, 17-year-old David Faraday and his 16-year-old girlfriend Betty Lou Jensen are on their very first date. Unfortunately, Betty and David's night out is about to turn into a nightmare because this stranger heading down the road has other plans for the couple. His destination? Murder. In moments, the infamous reign of the Zodijak killer will begin.
Please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop, please.
When police arrive at the scene, the killer has long fled. Betty and David become known as the notorious killer's first victims. The tight-knit community of Vallejo and the surrounding Bay Area is stunned by the murders. Fear quickly spreads that there's a gun-crazed maniac at large. They are not wrong. The killer will soon strike again. In the summer of 1969, 22-year-old Darlene Ferran and 19-year-old Michael Majau are parked at Blue Rock Spring Park, an infamous spot for rebellious teenagers less than 4 miles from the first attack. But this twisted murderer is not content to let his bloody handiwork speak for itself. He wants credit where credit is due. Later that night, a police dispatcher picks up a call from a payphone in Vallejo. The caller's words are impossible for the dispatcher to ever forget.
I want to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to the public park, you will find the kids in a brown car. I shot them with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
But the killer is wrong about one thing. It is not a double murder. Although Darlene Ferran tragically dies, Michael Majau miraculously survives. But his description of the killer is vague at best, saying only that he had a large face. It seems the killer's call to the police fails to give him the notoriety he craves, so he decides to take his cat-and-mouse game to the next level. On August 1st, 1969, he contacts the press.
Dear editor, this is the murderer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl on the 4th of July.
Wanting credit for his horrific acts, the shooter provides facts that only he would know, including the exact brand name of the ammo used in the shooting, Super X. And here's where things get truly diabolical. Accompanying the letter is a 408-character cryptogram, which, if solved, promises to reveal more of his sinister plans. He urges the police to publish the cipher in the newspapers for all to read, and then ends with a chilling vow to kill again, and signs off with a symbol that eerily resembles the crosshairs of a gun scope. And when the police don't respond, he sends a second, more detailed letter with another cipher. And in this one, the killer gives himself a name: the Zodijak.
The letter also contains more details of the crimes, convincing the police that the author is their killer. It seems all they need to do is crack the code to reveal his identity. Desperate for help, they appeal to the public and publish the cipher in the San Francisco Chronicle.
Their plan works. Within a week, a high school teacher and his wife ingeniously decipher the complex code, disclosing a chilling message that explains the Zodiac's demented purpose.
When I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all I have killed will become my slaves.
But the code offers no more clues to identify the culprit, and they can only hope the killing stops. Unfortunately, on September 27, 1969, college students Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell are picnicking along the shore of scenic Lake Berryessa when a stranger approaches.
I think someone's here.
Excuse me, can we help you?
The man tells the couple he's a prison escapee and he needs money and their car to get to Mexico. Thinking that this is just a robbery, Cecilia and Brian comply, and he ties them up. Then, things take a terrible turn. Cecilia succumbs to her injuries, but Brian survives, yet frustratingly is unable to give a description of the killer. But the Zodiac has left a message on the couple's car door, the dates and locations of his previous attacks.
And the very next month, he strikes again. Paul Stein is a 29-year-old San Francisco cab driver. On October 11th, 1969, he picks up this man, who asks to be taken to Presidio Heights. But this is no ordinary passenger. Several blocks later, the Zodiac will kill Stein, shooting him in the back of the head.
Within days, the San Francisco Chronicle receives a new letter from the Zodiac, taking credit for Paul Stein's murder. And to prove it, he includes a hideous souvenir from the attack: a piece of Stein's bloodied shirt. But there is one positive development. For the first time, there are multiple witnesses to one of the killings. They describe the Zodiac as a white male, approximately 25 to 30 years old, with a crew cut and heavy-rimmed glasses. A nationwide APB goes out on the killer. As tips pour in, the police and FBI interview over 2,500 suspects in connection with the murders. One of the most promising suspects is Arthur Lee Allen, a resident from Vallejo, where those first murders took place. Allen's neighbor had seen him pulling bloody knives from the trunk of his car on the day of the Lake Berryessa murder. And, most shocking of all, Allen even allegedly confesses to a colleague that he is the Zodiac. But when confronted by the police, Allen denies everything and claims he was joking about the confession. And as for the bloody knives, he says that it was just chicken's blood. The investigators do note an eerie coincidence, though. Allen's brand of watch is a Zodiac, its signature symbol exactly matching the crosshairs used to sign the killer's letters. But after an intensive investigation, with nothing directly linking Allen to any of the crimes, the police move on.
While the police desperately search for suspects, the killer's evil letters continue, threatening bombs, murders, even the slaughter of children. And these letters also contain 3 more codes to crack, including one that the Zodiac outrageously claims contains his name.
And the letters continue for 6 long years. But nobody is able to crack the code of their meaning.
Then comes 1974. The letters stop. And just like that, the case turns ice cold. But not closed. Far from it. In the decades since, professional and amateur investigators alike have spent untold hours puzzling over the Zodiac's 3 unsolved ciphers. If they could just be unraveled, this cruel madman could at last be identified. And now, it's finally happened. One of the codes has been cracked. For almost 60 years, the identity of the Zodiac serial killer has remained a mystery. But now, cutting-edge technology has unraveled part of his blood-soaked riddle. Software designer and cryptographer David Aranchak used the latest code-breaking techniques to try to solve the ciphers.
The Zodiac case was interesting to me, not only because it was one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in the world, but what really got me interested in it was the cryptography aspect of it, that he was sending these mysterious codes to the newspapers and taunting people with these hidden messages. And the fact that his first cipher was solved led me to think that it was possible to solve the second message that he had sent. We leaned heavily on very advanced computer programs that would help us do a lot of the grunt work.
Thanks to advances in technology, David and his team tackle the Zodiac killer's most infamous unsolved puzzle, the 340-character cipher.
The 340 he sent on one piece of paper in one big block. It's a mix of unusual symbols, just like the 408 was, but he threw in some new symbols. There are a lot of times when you're trying to break the code where you start to see a message coming through and you think, this has got to be from the killer. It says killing, it says murder, it says death. It's from a serial killer. But then you hit a brick wall because you can't get the whole message out. So I got used to failing until the breakthrough happened.
After 14 years of relentless effort, David and his team finally crack one of the world's most elusive codes and immediately send their breakthrough to the FBI.
The FBI responded to me within minutes when I sent the report, and they were excited because they believed that it was the correct answer.
I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing. I am not afraid because I know that my life will be an easy one in paradise death.
It really did feel like a new message from Zodiac, even though he had written it way back in November of 1969.
1 down, 2 unsolved Zodiac ciphers to go. And tantalizingly, Zodiac cruelly boasts that one of these 2 uncracked codes literally contains his name. So, building from Aranchak's brilliant efforts, we decided to roll up our sleeves and join the community in trying to solve the remaining ciphers. And after countless hours of work by my team and I, we discovered something astounding.
If you reverse engineer the cipher for names of the most infamous possible suspects, substituting letters for symbols, Like, for example, these 8 symbols could represent the letter L. Unscramble the letters and you discover that one suspect's name fits just right. A. Lee Allen. Arthur Lee Allen. The very same suspect who the police spent the most time investigating. The same suspect who confessed to a co-worker, carried bloody knives, and even wore a Zodijak watch.
And remarkably, there's more. People who knew Arthur Lee Allen confirmed that he had a fascination with ciphers from his days in the US Navy. Plus, investigators found he had a typewriter, like the one used to write some of the Zodijak messages. And he owned a pair of boots with soles matching those worn by the killer. Of course, all of this evidence is circumstantial, and Arthur himself died in 1992, denying he was the killer to the very end.
But when combined with this possible code crack and all of the mounting evidence, it leaves us to wonder, could it be that America's most infamous serial killer is finally unmasked?